Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his face as he checked his mining scanner again. The numbers on the screen made no sense. He had been working on this planet for 3 years, and he had never seen readings like these before. "Lisa, come look." "At this," he called to his partner. Lisa Wells walked over, her boots crunching on the rocky ground. The planet they were on was far from Earth, in a system that most people forgot existed. It was hot, dusty, and boring. But it had good metals under the ground, which is why the mining company sent them here. "What is it now, Jake?" Lisa asked. She was tired. They had been working since dawn, and the sun was getting low in the sky. "Another broken machine?" Jake shook his head. "No, the machine is fine. But look at these numbers." He pointed to his scanner. "There's something big down there. Really big. And it's not rock or metal like we usually find." Lisa looked at the scanner. The numbers showed something huge, buried deep under the ground. It was about 20 kilometers long and 5 kilometers wide. "That's impossible," she said. "Nothing that big should be buried here." "I know," Jake said, "but the scanner doesn't lie. There's something down there, and it's been there for a very long time." They had been mining on this planet for the Galactic Coalition. The Coalition was a group of different alien species that worked together. Humans had joined the Coalition about 200 years ago. Most aliens thought humans were young and not very important. Earth was just one small planet among thousands. Jake and Lisa decided to dig deeper. They used their big mining machines to move tons of rock and dirt. As they dug, the readings on their scanners got stronger. Whatever was down there was made of metal, but it was not like any metal they knew. After 2 days of digging, they found it. At first, it looked like a wall of dark metal, but as they cleared away more dirt, they could see it was curved. It was part of something much bigger. "We need to call this in," Lisa said. She was looking at the metal wall with wide eyes. "This isn't just a piece of metal. This is a structure, a big one." Jake nodded. He used his radio to call the Coalition base. "This is Jake Morrison at Mining Site 7. We've found something. Strange. We need someone to come look at it." Within hours, Coalition ships were landing near their dig site. The first to arrive was Commander Alex Turner, a human who worked for the Coalition military. He was a good man, but he followed orders without asking questions. "What have you found?" Commander Turner asked as he walked to the dig site. Jake showed him the metal wall. "We found this buried under about 50 meters of rock and dirt. Our scanners show it goes on for kilometers in every direction." Commander Turner looked at the metal. He touched it with his gloved hand. "It's smooth," he said, "and it's not rusty or damaged." "How old do you think this is?" "I don't know," Jake said, "but the rock and dirt on top of it has been there for millions of years. This thing is ancient." More Coalition ships arrived. Scientists, soldiers, and officials came to look at the discovery. The most important was Dr. Zeeth Carr, an alien archaeologist who is famous for finding old ruins on different planets. Dr. Zeeth Carr was tall and thin, with blue skin and 4 arms. He had special equipment that could tell him about very old things. But when he tried to use his equipment on the metal wall, nothing happened. "This is very strange," Dr. Zeeth Carr said. "My equipment works on everything, but this metal, it's like it's not really there." Other alien scientists tried their equipment too. Nothing worked. The metal wall seemed to block all their scans and tests. But when Jake used his simple human scanner, it worked perfectly. The scanner showed detailed images of what was under the ground. It was a ship, a huge ship that was bigger than any ship the Coalition had ever built. "Only human equipment works on it," Commander Turner said. "That's very odd." Dr. Zeeth Carr looked worried. "In all my years of studying ancient ruins, I have never seen anything like this." This technology is more advanced than anything in the Coalition. The news of the discovery spread quickly through Coalition space. On the Coalition's capital planet, important leaders held emergency meetings. They were confused and worried. How could humans, who are so young and not very advanced, have such old and powerful technology? Admiral Vorthuk, a powerful alien leader, sent a message to Earth. "This discovery belongs to the Coalition," he said. "It's too important and too dangerous for one species to control." But the human government on Earth disagreed. "This was found by humans, on a planet that humans are mining," they said. "It belongs to humanity." Back on the mining planet, Jake and Lisa continued to study the buried ship. Every day, they found new things. The ship had weapons that they didn't recognize. It had engines that used technology nobody understood. And it had living spaces that could hold millions of people. "This isn't just a ship," Lisa said one day. "It's like a floating city, or maybe even a floating planet." Jake nodded. Whoever built this was very advanced. Much more advanced than we are now. As they studied the ship, strange things began to happen. Sometimes, lights would flicker deep, inside the metal. Sometimes, they could hear sounds like machines turning on and off. It was like the ship was sleeping, but starting to wake up. "I think we should be careful," Lisa said. "This thing has been sleeping for millions of years. Maybe it should stay that way." But Jake was curious. He wanted to know more. "Think about it, Lisa. What if this ship was built by humans? What if our people were once much more advanced than we are now?" Lisa shook her head. "That's impossible. Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. We don't have technology like this." But as they continued to study the ship, Jake became more and more sure. The design of the ship looked familiar somehow. The way the rooms were arranged seemed right for humans. And his scanner could read the ship's systems like they were made for human hands. "I think this ship was built by our ancestors," Jake said. "I think humans were once much more powerful than anyone knows." The discovery was about to change everything. Not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. The sleeping ship was starting to wake up, and when it did, nothing would ever be the same again. Dr. Katie Brooks arrived on the mining planet 3 days after the discovery. She was a scientist who studied how living things worked with machines. The Coalition had sent her because their scanners showed that the buried ship was not just metal and circuits. Parts of it were alive. Katie was a small woman with brown hair and quick eyes. She liked to solve puzzles, and this ship was the biggest puzzle she had ever seen. When she first saw the metal wall that Jake and Lisa had found, she knew this was something special. "The metal is not just metal," she told Commander Turner. "Look at these readings. There are organic compounds mixed in with the metal. It's like the ship is part machine and part living creature." Commander Turner looked at her scanner. "You mean it's alive?" "Not alive like a person or an animal," Katie said, "but it has living parts. The metal has a pattern like a heartbeat. Very slow, but it's there." Jake was excited by this news. "That explains why it responds to human equipment. Maybe it recognizes us somehow." Lisa was not so sure. "Or maybe it's dangerous. If it's alive, who knows what it might do?" Katie spent the next 2 days studying the ship. She found that the living parts were connected to everything. The walls, the floors, the systems, everything had organic material mixed in. It was like the entire ship was one giant living machine. "I've never seen anything like this," she said. "The technology is thousands of years ahead of anything we have, maybe millions of years." While Katie studied the ship, more Coalition officials arrived. The most important was Admiral Vorthuk, the leader of the Coalition military. He was a large alien with gray skin and 3 eyes. He did not like humans very much, and he especially did not like the idea that humans might have advanced technology. This discovery must be controlled by the Coalition, Admiral Vorthek said. No single species can be trusted with such power. But Ambassador Carol Stone had also arrived from Earth. She was a tough woman who did not back down from anyone, even powerful aliens like Admiral Vorthek. This ship was found by humans on a planet that humans are mining, Ambassador Stone said. It belongs to humanity. The Coalition has no right to take it. The two leaders argued for hours. Meanwhile, Jake and Lisa continued their work. They had found a way to get inside the ship. There was a crack in the metal wall where they could squeeze through. Inside the ship, everything was dark and quiet. But when Jake stepped inside, lights began to turn on. The ship recognized him and started to wake up. "Lisa, look at this," Jake called. The hallway they were in was huge. The ceiling was 20 meters high, and the walls were covered with panels that glowed with soft light. Lisa followed him inside. "It's beautiful," she said, "but also scary. It's like the ship knows we're here." They walked through the ship for hours. They found rooms that looked like they were made for humans. Beds, chairs, and tables that were the right size for human bodies. Control panels that seemed designed for human hands. This ship was definitely built by humans, Jake said. But humans from long ago, much longer ago than our history books say. In one large room, they found something amazing. The walls were covered with star maps, but not star maps like they had ever seen. These maps showed the galaxy as it was millions of years ago, and on many of the stars, there were human symbols. "Jake, look at this," Lisa said. She was pointing to a section of the map. According to this, humans had colonies on hundreds of worlds. We controlled a huge part of the galaxy. Jake stared at the maps. That's impossible. Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. But the evidence was right in front of them. The maps showed a vast human empire that had existed long before recorded history. Somehow, humanity had forgotten its own past. Ben Clark, a technical expert from the Coalition, had also entered the ship. He was trying to access the ship's computer systems. But every time he tried, the systems would shut down. "It's like the ship doesn't trust me," Ben said. But when Jake or Lisa touches the controls, everything works perfectly. Katie made another discovery. She found that the ship's living parts were most active around humans. When aliens were nearby, the ship became quiet and still. But when humans were present, it came alive. "The ship is programmed to respond to human DNA," she said. "It recognizes us as its builders." This news made Admiral Vorthek very angry. If this ship only responds to humans, then it is too dangerous to leave in human hands. We must find a way to control it. But the ship had other ideas. When Coalition soldiers tried to enter the ship, the entrances sealed shut. When alien scientists tried to take samples of the metal, their equipment stopped working. The ship was protecting itself, and it only trusted humans. Jake made the most important discovery of all. In the center of the ship, he found a room with a single chair. The chair was connected to hundreds of cables and tubes. It looked like a command center. "I think this is where the ship's captain would sit," Jake said. "This is how they controlled the ship." Lisa was worried. "Don't touch anything, Jake. We don't know what might happen." But Jake was curious. He had always been curious, even when it got him into trouble. He reached out and touched the chair. The moment his hand made contact, the entire ship changed. Lights came on everywhere. The air began to move. Sounds of machinery starting up echoed through the hallways. "Jake, what did you do?" Lisa asked. "I don't know," Jake said. "But I think I woke something up." Outside the ship, everyone could see the changes. The metal walls were glowing with energy. The ground around the ship was vibrating, and from deep inside the ship, they could hear a sound like a giant heartbeat. Dr. Zethkar was amazed. In all my years of studying ancient technology, I have never seen anything like this. This ship is more advanced than anything in the Coalition. Admiral Vorthak was not amazed. He was scared. This ship is dangerous. We must destroy it before it becomes a threat. But Ambassador Stone stood firm. You will not destroy human heritage. This ship belongs to humanity, and we will decide what to do with it. The argument between the Coalition and humanity was getting worse. But inside the ship, something wonderful was happening. The ship was coming back to life after millions of years of sleep. Jake could feel it. The ship was trying to communicate with him. It was showing him images in his mind. Pictures of the galaxy as it used to be. Pictures of humans traveling between the stars in ships like this one. The ship is trying to tell me something, Jake said. It's showing me our history. Our real history. Lisa looked at him with concern. Jake, are you okay? You look different. Jake did look different. His eyes were brighter, and he seemed to understand things that he had not understood before. The ship was teaching him, sharing its knowledge. I'm fine, Jake said. Better than fine. I'm learning things that humanity forgot long ago. The ship was fully awake now, and it was waiting for someone to take command. Someone who could lead humanity back to its rightful place among the stars. Jake looked at the captain's chair. He knew that if he sat in it, everything would change. Not just for him, but for all of humanity. The question was he ready for that responsibility? Outside, the Coalition and human leaders continued to argue. But inside the ship, Jake was about to make a decision that would change the galaxy forever. Jake stood in front of the captain's chair for a long time. He could feel the ship waiting for him to make a choice. The chair seemed to call to him, like it was made just for him. Jake, don't do it, Lisa said. We don't know what will happen. But Jake could hear something else now. A voice in his mind that was not his own. It was gentle and warm, like a friend he had forgotten. Hello, Jake, the voice said. I have been waiting for you for a very long time. Jake looked around the room. Who's there? I am the ship, the voice said. My name is Eden. I have been sleeping for 100,000 years, waiting for humanity to find me again. Lisa could not hear the voice. She only saw Jake talking to empty air. Jake, you're scaring me. Please, let's get out of here. But Jake was fascinated. Eden, are you alive? I am alive in a way, Eden said. I was created by your ancestors, the humans who ruled the galaxy long ago. I am part machine and part living being. I am here to help humanity remember who they really are. Jake sat down in the captain's chair. The moment he did, everything changed. Cables and tubes connected to his body, but they did not hurt. Instead, they felt warm and comforting. Suddenly, Jake could see everything. He could see the entire ship, all 20 kilometers of it. He could see outside the ship, where Coalition forces were gathering. He could see into space, where more Coalition ships were arriving. Jake, Lisa shouted, what's happening to you? Jake opened his eyes and looked at her. But now his eyes were different. They glowed with a soft blue light. I can see everything. Lisa, the ship is showing me our history, our real history. Images filled Jake's mind. He saw the galaxy as it was 100,000 years ago. He saw thousands of human ships traveling between the stars. He saw human colonies on worlds across the galaxy. He saw a civilization that was powerful and advanced beyond anything that existed today. What happened to them? Jake asked Eden. War, Eden said sadly. A great war that nearly destroyed the galaxy. The humans fought against an enemy that wanted to wipe out all life. In the end, the humans won, but the cost was terrible. Most of the human worlds were destroyed. The survivors had to start over. Jake saw the end of the war. He saw the surviving humans deciding to hide their technology and live simple lives. They did not want future generations to repeat the mistakes of the past. They made us forget. Jake said, "They made us forget who we really were." "Yes," Eden said, "but they also left us, the ships, sleeping and waiting." They knew that someday humanity would need to remember. They knew that someday the galaxy would need humanity's help. Again, outside the ship, coalition forces were preparing for war. Admiral Vorthek had decided that the ship was too dangerous to exist. He had called in the coalition's most powerful warships. "We will destroy the ship and everything around it," Admiral Vorthek said. "It is too dangerous to allow it to exist." But Ambassador Stone was not giving up. "You cannot destroy human heritage. This ship belongs to humanity." "This ship belongs to no one," Admiral Vorthek said. "It is a weapon from the past, and it must be destroyed." Inside the ship, Jake could see the coalition forces gathering. Eden showed him the weapons that were being aimed at them. "They want to destroy us," Jake said. "I know," Eden said, "but I will not let them. I have been waiting too long for humanity to return." Jake felt the ship's weapons coming online. They were weapons unlike anything in the modern galaxy. Weapons that could destroy entire fleets without killing the people inside them. "We don't have to fight them," Jake said. "Maybe we can talk to them." But Eden had a different idea. "Jake, there are others like me, other ships that have been sleeping and waiting. If you give the command, they will wake up too." Jake saw them in his mind. Dozens of ships like Eden, hidden on worlds across the galaxy. They had been waiting for this moment for 100,000 years. "Wake them up," Jake said. Across the galaxy, ancient human ships began to stir. On mining worlds, farming planets, and forgotten moons, ships that had been sleeping for millions of years started to wake up. The coalition sensors detected the awakenings immediately. On the coalition capital world, emergency meetings were called. The president of the coalition, a wise alien named Zireth, looked at the reports with growing concern. "How many ships are there?" President Zireth asked. "We don't know," his aide said. "At least 50, maybe more. They're all over the galaxy." Back on the mining planet, Jake was learning to control Eden's systems. He could feel every part of the ship, from the smallest sensor to the largest weapon. He could also feel the other ships as they woke up. "This is incredible," Jake said. "I can talk to all of them." Lisa was watching Jake with fear and wonder. "Jake, you're changing." "You're not the same person you were this morning." Jake looked at her. "I'm still me, Lisa, but I'm also more. I'm connected to something bigger." General Marcus Webb, the coalition's top military commander, arrived on the mining planet with a large force. He was a human who had worked for the coalition for 30 years. He was loyal to the coalition, but he was also proud of his human heritage. "I want to talk to whoever is controlling that ship," General Webb said. Jake felt the general's presence outside the ship. Through Eden's sensors, he could see that General Webb was conflicted. He was torn between his loyalty to the coalition and his pride in humanity. "Let him come aboard," Jake said. The ship opened a doorway for General Webb. When he entered, he was amazed by what he saw. The ship was beautiful and powerful beyond anything he had imagined. "Are you Jake Morrison?" General Webb asked. "I am," Jake said, "and I'm the captain of this ship." General Webb looked at the young mining engineer, who was now connected to the most powerful ship in the galaxy. "Do you know what you've done? You've scared every species in the coalition. They think humanity is about to conquer the galaxy." Jake shook his head. "We don't want to conquer anyone. We just want to remember who we are." The Coalition doesn't see it that way, General Webb said. They see a threat. They see weapons that could destroy them all. Eden spoke to Jake privately. The General is right. The Coalition is afraid. They are preparing to attack not just the ship, but all human worlds. Jake felt a chill. They would attack Earth. They are discussing it now, Eden said. They think that if they destroy humanity, they can stop the ships from awakening. Jake knew he had to act. The Coalition was about to start a war that would destroy millions of innocent people. He had to stop them. General Webb, Jake said, I need you to deliver a message to the Coalition. Tell them that humanity does not want war. But tell them also that we will not be destroyed. We have remembered who we are, and we will defend ourselves. General Webb nodded. I'll deliver your message. But Jake, be careful. The Coalition has powerful weapons, too. This could become a war that destroys the galaxy. As General Webb left the ship, Jake felt the other human ships reaching full awakening across the galaxy. They were all connected to him now, waiting for his commands. What do we do now? Lisa asked. Jake looked at her with his glowing eyes. Now we show the galaxy that humanity has returned, and we hope that they will accept us as partners, not enemies. But deep in space, Coalition fleets were already moving toward human worlds. The galaxy was about to see a conflict unlike anything in its history. The first attack came 3 days later. The Korthek Empire, led by the warlike warlord Greg Toll, decided to strike before the human ships could organize. They attacked a small human colony on the edge of Coalition space. Jake felt the attack through Eden's connection to the other ships. He could sense the fear of the colonists as Korthek warships surrounded their planet. They're attacking innocent people, Jake said. We have to help them. I am ready, Eden said. But if we fight, there will be no going back. The galaxy will see us as a threat. Jake thought about the choice. He could let the colonists die and hope the Coalition would see that humans were peaceful, or he could fight and risk starting a galactic war. We protect our people, Jake said. Always. Eden moved faster than any ship in the galaxy. One moment they were on the mining planet. The next they were in orbit around the human colony. The Korthek ships were surprised by the sudden appearance of the ancient supercarrier. Unknown ship, identify yourself, the Korthek commander said. Jake opened a communication channel. This is Jake Morrison, captain of the Eden. You are attacking innocent people. Leave now, or we will stop you. The Korthek commander laughed. One ship against our entire fleet? You are either very brave or very stupid. I'm both, Jake said. But I'm also right. The Korthek ships opened fire. Their weapons were powerful, but Eden's shields absorbed the energy like it was nothing. The ancient ship had been built to survive wars that no one in the modern galaxy could imagine. My turn, Jake said. Eden's weapons were unlike anything the Korthek had seen. Instead of destroying the enemy ships, they shut down their systems. The Korthek ships found themselves floating helplessly in space, unable to move or fight. What did you do to us? The Korthek commander demanded. I stopped you without killing you, Jake said. Your crews are alive, but your ships are disabled. Think about what that means. The Korthek commander was confused. In his culture, enemies were destroyed, not shown mercy. The idea of being defeated, but allowed to live, was strange to him. Why didn't you destroy us? The commander asked. Because we're not your enemies, Jake said. We could have killed you all, but we chose not to. Remember that. Jake left the Korthek ships floating in space and returned to the mining planet. But word of the battle spread quickly through the galaxy. The Coalition leaders were amazed and frightened by what they had seen. The human ship disabled an entire Korthek fleet without destroying them, President Zirith said. This technology is beyond anything we have. Admiral Vorthik was furious. "This proves that the human ships are too dangerous. We must destroy them all before they become unstoppable." But other coalition leaders were not so sure. Some of them were beginning to think that maybe humanity could be trusted with such power. Meanwhile, Tony Garcia, a human engineer working on a coalition space station, made an important discovery. He found that the awakening ships had activated something else, an ancient network that connected all human technology across the galaxy. "It's incredible," Tony told his colleague, Dr. Helen Ford. "The ancient humans built a communication network that spans the entire galaxy. It's been dormant for thousands of years, but now it's coming back online." Dr. Helen Ford was a scientist who studied alien biology. She had been working with Tony to understand the human ships. This network could change everything. Instant communication across the galaxy would revolutionize trade, science, and diplomacy. But the network was only accessible to humans. Alien technology could not connect to it. This made many alien species nervous. They worried that humans would use the network to gain an unfair advantage. On the mining planet, Jake was learning more about humanity's past. Eden showed him records of the great war that had ended the human empire. The enemy had been called the Devourers, and they had wanted to consume all life in the galaxy. "The humans fought them for 1,000 years, Eden explained. "In the end, we won, but the cost was terrible. Billions of humans died. Entire star systems were destroyed." Jake saw images of the final battle. The surviving humans had made a difficult choice. They had hidden their technology and chosen to live simple lives. They hoped that future generations would be wiser than they had been. "But they left us," Jake said. "They left the ships to watch and wait." "Yes," Eden said. "They knew that someday the galaxy would need humanity's strength again. They just hoped that when that day came, humans would be ready to use their power wisely." Jake felt the weight of responsibility. He was not just captain of one ship anymore. He was the leader of a fleet that could reshape the galaxy. The question was, what should he do with that power? The answer came when the coalition made their next move. President Zirith called an emergency meeting of all coalition species. He wanted to vote on whether to declare war on humanity. "The human ships are too powerful," Admiral Vorthik argued. "If we don't stop them now, they will dominate us all." But Ambassador Stone fought back. "Humanity has done nothing wrong. We found our own technology on our own worlds. We have the right to use it." The debate went on for hours. Some species supported humanity. Others were afraid of human power. The vote was close, but in the end, the coalition chose war. "All human worlds are now considered hostile," President Zirith announced. "Coalition forces will move to secure human technology and prevent its use." Jake felt the decision through Eden's sensors. Coalition fleets were moving toward Earth and other human worlds. They planned to invade and capture human technology. "They're going to attack Earth," Jake said. "We have to stop them. The other ships are ready," Eden said. "We can defeat the coalition forces. But if we do, we will be seen as conquerors." Jake made his choice. We protect our people, but we do it the right way. Across the galaxy, the ancient human ships moved into action. But instead of attacking the coalition fleets, they did something unexpected. They surrounded the coalition ships and offered to talk. "This is Jake Morrison." Jake broadcast to all coalition forces. "We don't want to fight you. We want to show you something." What Jake showed them changed everything. Using the ancient network, he shared the true history of the galaxy. He showed them the war against the Devourers. He showed them how humanity had sacrificed everything to protect all life in the galaxy. "We are not your enemies," Jake said. "We are your guardians. We have been waiting for the day when the galaxy would need us again. Captain Kevin Ross, a coalition officer who had been preparing to attack Earth, was amazed by what he saw. Is this true? Did humans really save the galaxy? Yes, Jake said, and we're ready to do it again. But this time, we want to work with you, not fight you. The revelation changed everything. Coalition forces stopped their attack on human worlds. Instead, they began to talk. For the first time in the galaxy's history, humans and aliens were working together as equals. But not everyone was happy with this change. Warlord Greyktoll and his Korthic Empire refused to accept human leadership. They began gathering their own forces, preparing for a war that would determine the future of the galaxy. Jake knew that the real test was still coming. A galaxy was about to see whether humanity had truly learned from its past mistakes, or whether history would repeat itself. The final confrontation came at the center of the galaxy. Warlord Greyktoll had gathered the largest fleet in galactic history. Ships from dozens of species that feared human power joined his cause. They called themselves the Freedom Coalition, and they wanted to destroy humanity before it could dominate the galaxy. Jake stood on Eden's Bridge, watching the massive enemy fleet approach. There were thousands of ships, all armed with the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. It was the kind of fleet that could destroy star systems. They really think we want to conquer them, Jake said sadly. Fear makes people do terrible things. Eden replied, Your ancestors learned that lesson the hard way. Lisa stood beside Jake. Over the past weeks, she had watched her partner change from a simple mining engineer into something much more. But she could still see the man she had worked with for 3 years. What are you going to do? She asked. Jake looked at the enemy fleet. I'm going to show them what humanity has really learned. Instead of meeting the enemy fleet with weapons, Jake did something unexpected. He opened communication channels to every ship in both fleets. Then he began to share something that no one had seen before. The complete history of the galaxy. Using the ancient network. Jake showed them everything. He showed them the rise and fall of civilizations. He showed them wars that had destroyed entire species. He showed them the cycle of fear and violence that had plagued the galaxy for millions of years. This is what always happens, Jake said. One species gets powerful, and the others get scared. They fight, and everyone suffers. But it doesn't have to be this way. Captain Kevin Ross, now commanding his own ship in the human fleet, was amazed by what he saw. Jake, these records go back millions of years. Where did they come from? From the ships, Jake said. They've been watching and recording everything. They know the true history of the galaxy. Dr. Helen Ford, who had joined the human fleet to study the ancient technology, made an important discovery. Jake, the ships aren't just recording history. They're learning from it. They're designed to help prevent the same mistakes from happening again. Jake nodded. That's why they only respond to humans. Our ancestors programmed them to work with us, but only if we proved we had learned from the past. Warlord Greyktoll was not interested in history lessons. Enough talk. He broadcast. We will destroy the human fleet and free the galaxy from their threat. The Korthic ships opened fire, followed by the rest of the Freedom Coalition fleet. Thousands of weapons fired at once, creating a storm of energy that lit up space. Human ships were ready. Their shields absorbed the attack without taking damage. Then they did something that shocked everyone. They fired back with weapons that disabled enemy ships instead of destroying them. What are you doing? Warlord Greyktoll demanded as his own ship was disabled. Why don't you destroy us? Because we're not trying to win a war, Jake said. We're trying to end one. As the battle continued, something amazing happened. The human ships began working together with coalition ships that had chosen to trust humanity. Captain Kevin Ross found his ship linked to Eden's network, and suddenly he could coordinate with the human fleet as if he had been born to it.